You've been lucky enough to find the house you love. Great, so what's the problem? There's a lot of other people that love it too. And now you find yourself in a bidding war, and to narrow down the field and discover who's serious and who's lukewarm, a seller may decide that they need to ask for everyone's highest and best offer going forward. I'm going to explain to you the seller's rationale behind the request and see if I can give you some ideas about how to go about getting you the winning offer. So let's do it now. Hello, this is Rick Miller. I'm a realtor in McDonough, Georgia. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the offers you make and the offers you receive on the property if you're a seller. I'm going to give you a little behind-the-scenes insight the seller should be aware of and give you some ideas about ways to make your offer stand out from all the rest. Altogether, for both buyer and seller, this should be good information about what the other side is thinking and or doing. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That keeps us motivated to bring you more free content and we want to help you become the best buyer and seller of real estate that you can be. And don't forget to ring that bell so you're notified right away when new content is published. So you're waiting to hear whether an offer you submitted will be accepted, only receive a call from your agent telling you highest and best is being called for. So what does that mean exactly? When someone is asked to make your highest and best offer, the seller is asking someone to come to the table with the highest price they're willing to pay with the most favorable terms. But why are you being asked to bid against yourself after you already have submitted the offer you think is the highest and best? Typically, this subsequent offer is requested when a seller has received multiple offers on their home and decides to ask all prospective buyers to submit their most attractive bids within a specified period of time. Once the seller has received all the offers, they will review them, pick the best one that suits them, and it's as simple as that. So let's talk about what is being asked for and why. The seller may simply want to speed up the selling process. Calling for highest and best can also be a signal that multiple offers are nearly identical and or the seller wants to forego any lengthy negotiations. So with this in mind, it is my recommendation, especially in the market that we're in, where there are multiple offers often seen, is to hold nothing back and make your first offer your best offer. Now, there are always exceptions to this rule of submitting your highest and best on every offer you make. Like, maybe the home has been sitting on the market for 2 months, for example. In that case, I may not be so quick to put it all out there. Calling for highest and best can also be a risky play for sellers, too. Taking a calculated risk, hoping to drum up more interest in a property by asking for someone's highest and best offer, it can backfire. Asking for highest and best and hoping to facilitate a bidding war could scare buyers towards other options available without ever giving your property further consideration. It can also cause the buyer not to submit anything subsequent because they're already feel defeated by the competition, or it might cause buyers to withdraw their original offer altogether. It's happened. I've seen that happen. Beware too. Calling for highest and best can also cause some buyers to offer more than what they can afford in hopes of playing the appraisal game. This typically happens in a multiple offer situation, and the seller gets a little greedy and wants to see how high they can push the buyers, and only later to learn that the offer accepted was more than what the buyer could afford. The appraisal comes back lower, and this puts the seller in a position of either accepting the appraised value or putting the property back on the market. Even if the appraisal comes in at the offer price, the seller is still not in the clear. If the buyer can't be approved for the loan amount, the seller is stuck again having to put the property back on the market, and there may be no earnest money to claim. It is always prudent to always make sure that your agent vets the buyer And always keep in mind what they think the property will actually appraise for before you get too excited about big ostentatious offers. You still might be wondering what to do if you are confronted with a highest and best call after you had already laid everything out the first time around and you have nothing left to give. Well, in this scenario, or when that happens, it's time to start thinking outside the box. So how do we make your bid stand out? Even before the initial offer is made, it's always prudent for your agent to call the listing agent to inquire whether the seller might be looking for something special in an offer. I do this regularly. Some listing agents, they won't talk to you. Others will unload everything. So when that happens, it's important to try and highlight some of those little minor things that you might not think are real important, but later on they may very well be. Although money is a big part of this, it's not always the primary consideration. Sellers want certainty. And as a buyer, this is where you can separate yourself from the pack. The second highest bid in terms of dollars could win if it has the fewest contingencies, or there are better terms associated with the sale, like flexibility around moving dates or offering a certain amount above the appraisal price. A short due diligence or finance contingency period is also good. To begin with, you want to bid enough to win without going over your budget. You also don't want to get into a situation where you're bidding against yourself by making an offer you and your real estate agent aren't sure no one else could match. That's a good way to overpay. My first suggestion is to focus on other ways to sweeten the deal. There's no doubt that the purchase price you're offering has to, at the very least, be competitive with other offers being made. However, it's certainly far from the only thing that matters. There are other ways to make your offer stand out. While you can and should get a home inspection, it's particularly in hot multiple bid scenarios, you may want to shorten your due diligence period or waive it altogether and give up the right to walk away. Yes, this is risky, but sometimes in some circumstances the risk isn't as great, and it'll get you the house. If you're getting a mortgage, you're required to get an appraisal because the home is collateral for the loan. However, if you're comfortable with the financial situation and you really want the house, you might waive the appraisal contingency. And another option is to guarantee bringing the difference between the appraised value and the purchase price in cash to closing. If you can do that, that's a big incentive. Also, and if I have said this once, I've said it 100 times, don't make an offer on a house unless you are pre-approved. Not pre-qualified, but pre-approved. If you're pre-approved, your broker may give you the green light to reduce the finance contingency period below what is typically considered customary. And yes, I've seen it in some cases. I have seen it eliminated altogether. Also, add a copy of the pre-approval letter to your offer. Be flexible. If the seller wants to move quickly and needs to be closed by a certain date, your flexibility could help you win in this scenario. The same goes for needing more time in the home. If you're buying a primary residence, the only rule is that you have to occupy the property within 2 months. So you do have some room to negotiate, and typically in this situation, sellers, they know that they're going to have to pay rent in these situations. When the buyers find a house they want, they should make their offer as soon as they can. It shows that you're serious. On the other hand, an offer that comes in past the deadline will probably be rejected. Sellers have timelines too, and it's important not to procrastinate. Another idea that I have also used many times is to use an escalation clause. If you're worried about being outbid, but you also don't want to overpay, an escalation clause could be the answer. An escalation clause says you'll go over X number of dollar amount over and above any offer, any other higher offers a seller might be getting up to a level, and tap out at a point that you set. For example, you put in an offer of $450,000 on a house. In order to protect yourself, you stipulate that you'll go $1,001 over any other offer up to and not to exceed $480. In this way, you're putting your best foot forward, staying in your budget. You're not overpaying if there are no other offers. And always have a bottom line, and always be prepared to move on. In the heat of a bidding war, emotions run high. It can be easy to get overwhelmed. Before you ever make any offer on any home, know what your budget is, and know what I call is your "I don't love you anymore" price. You love the home at $450,000, but not so much at $500,000. Now your top end, know your top end, and how much you're willing to concede in advance. And doing so will make it easier to avoid crossing any line that's been drawn. Also, sometimes there's nothing you can do against a cash offer. Sellers love certainty of knowing what's going to, when they're going to be able to close. But there are programs available to buyers that enable them to turn into cash buyers that are cost effective, especially in this market. Feel free to contact me and we can talk more about that option if you like. About the only way you can compete against a cash offer is to guarantee funds in the event the property does not appraise, reduce your due diligence period, increase your earnest money, and eliminate any contingencies. After laying out all the options and giving the pros and cons of doing so, I did recently have a client direct me to make such an offer. Needless to say, I was way outside my comfort zone, but fortunately, it all worked out fine, and the client got the house they wanted. But the most important point I want to make here is that they were prepared. Because they were prepared, it made all the difference. If you do intend to withdraw from a bidding war, communicate this through your real estate agent. And remember, you can also put in a backup offer to be next in line in case the original offer falls through, as they often do. At the same time, don't wait around hoping for something that might not happen. If you find another house you like, don't hold back. Go for it. It's not easy to buy a house in today's market. According to the July report from the National Association of Realtors, the average home had more than 4 offers by the time it sold. Given today's market, my recommendation to buyers is to be prepared. Know your budget. Put forth your best offer up front. And remember, when structuring your offer, it's not always about price. Sellers want certainty and flexibility. Sometimes waiving certain things like inspection contingencies, giving them more time to move, can put you over the top. Also be prepared to make use of any escalation clauses in a bidding war. And need I say it again, have your finances in order. I hope you received some good ideas from this video. If you have other ideas or comments or anything you wish to add, please let me hear from you in the comments section below. As always, thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe. And until next time, if you're selling, good luck with your sale. And if you're buying, happy house hunting.